We're going to be covering the best practices for upgrading SOLIDWORks, different ways of installing or going about upgrading that installation or current installation. Definitely welcome any questions. It looks like we already have a couple. Please, you can send those in the chat. You can send those in the questions section of the GoTo app. So just kind of cover some basic stuff here. Of course, here's our mission. GoEngineer provides design and manufacturing tools with expertise. So expertise is the key word here. You know, we try our hardest to help you guys with the best information. You know, the quickest turnaround as possible. All right. What we do here, so we have tech support. Many of you might already be aware of or have already used tech support, right? You can reach us. You can reach us by calling us. You can reach us by emailing us. We have about 30 dedicated technical support engineers and many more application engineers that can help out. We do provide in-person or online training as well, so you can ask about signing up for that. And also we have a full printing 3D printing service, so you can always send us a model and we'll get it printed for you. All right. So just what we're going to discuss today. First, I just want to go over how to get support. I kind of mentioned it already. You might be already familiar with how to get support, or however you prefer to get support from GoEngineer. Okay. Installation files. So just kind of a quick word on how you can get installation files. Different methods of going about getting installation files, or where to keep installation files. We're then going to talk about installing updates, kind of the main point of this today. We want you to be familiar with the best practices, the best methods. We don't want you to run into any errors along the way, so hopefully this will help you out in the future. We're going to go over some common errors and then just kind of discuss the background downloader. That's kind of a common one that we run into here. Some questions about how to turn that on or off. All right. Parallel installations. This is another a lot of questions we get. How many, what versions you can install next to each other, how many versions you can install in the same computer. All right. Some basic information on accessing SOLIDWORks. So depending on the type of license you have, right, some things to look for. And then finally, just kind of review the SOLIDWORKS Help, which is a great resource for upgrading SOLIDWORks, whether it's you're upgrading just the service pack or upgrading a major, up to the next major version or the latest release. The other thing would be admin images. So upgrading and just kind of brief discussion of admin images. And the admin images, there's a lot of information on the SOLIDWORKS Help page. So again, if you have any questions here, I'll try to get to them at the right time during the webinar or at the very end. And yeah, please get those in. All right. So how to get support? By far, we kind of pride ourselves with having a very quick support team. So if you call us, we have a very low wait time. If you send us an email, we're pretty quick to get back with you. In technical support, we're going to help you with any errors, messages, warnings, crashings, things like that. If you need some kind of one-on-one mentoring, advice, best practices, or helping you actually create models, we can get you in touch with the right team here. Either our training team or our application engineers will be able to help you out. So if you need to send us some files, maybe some installation logs, something failed, you can send those over to support@goengineer.com, and we'll get a new case started and get someone on that pretty quickly for you. That gives us the best resource. It's the best resource for us to go there and get all the files that you send to us, that we can start looking and reviewing at that case immediately. If you prefer to call, if you prefer to talk to us, that's great too. Like I said, we have a very low wait times, probably less than a minute. Kind of our phone queue, our phone tree there, just how to contact which group. That way we make sure we get you the right team as quick as possible, and that we don't have you waiting on hold forever. All right. So we're gonna kind of just start pretty basic here. You know, like I said, the point of this is just to get you familiar with the current processes of upgrading SOLIDWORKS, not upgrading or rather updating, like I said, to the most recent service pack or to the most recent major release. Okay. So we're going to talk about individual installations. This is any installation that is, not an admin image. If you're just installing on a single client computer, this individual installation is going to be the best option. Obviously, if you have a standalone serial number, you're going to be using individual installations. So this is, the most the most widely used installation method. DVDs, they're not sending out DVDs anymore. We're not providing DVDs. If you need installation files on a hard physical device, we can send like a USB drive to you if needed. If you're, some people prefer to keep the installation files on a server. We'll talk about that a little bit later too. You can always move your files locally first. That's going to give us the best possible a chance at having a successful installation. We've run into issues with installation files located over server. There's a lot of data to be transmitted, obviously, back and forth, so it's best that you copy that beforehand, make sure that all the files are there, and then go forward with the installation or upgrade after the files are located on your own computer. Two other ways to get the files if you don't already have them on your server or anywhere else on your computer. You can go through the SOLIDWORKS customer portal. All right, you can get the download there. Some of you already may have tried that. SP4 for 2021 just came out, so it's kind of a good timing having this webinar. If you're having issues with SOLIDWORKS, the customer portal, getting the download files, the installation files there, you can always reach out to us, again, the same email, and we can provide a copy, the complete installation file set. That's one thing that SOLIDWORKS will not provide, so we can help you out with those. If you're having troubles on the customer portal and then we can't get that resolved immediately for you, we'll be able to help you out and give you the most whatever service pack you're looking for. Generally, we're just going to provide you with the latest service pack for each major release. That's the one thing I guess to note there is if you're off of maintenance, right? If you're no longer on subscription, you are entitled to the last service pack of that major release. But say your maintenance expired May 2020, you're not going to be able to receive SOLIDWORKS 2021. Okay, so keep that in mind. Lastly, just one thing to note here. If you'd like to clean up your computer, maybe you have a lot of installation files, maybe you have some issues with existing installations of SOLIDWORKS. The best method that we find is just to go through. We can completely clean out the computer, and maybe you have files from SOLIDWORKS 2012, 2011, something from way back. It's best to clean up the computer. Open up some more space on the machine. We can help you out with that. Completely remove the old installations and then perform a clean reinstall with some new files. Again, you can get those files from contacting us or possibly on the SOLIDWORKS customer portal. All right. So that was one question. Actually, let me go back. Any special considerations upgrading from SOLIDWORKS 2017 to 2020 or 2021? Not so much. I guess one thing to note would be possibly saving, saving your custom menus and customizations, things like that. You can use the copy settings wizard available. That's in the Windows Start button. So if you want to save those before you upgrade, just in case, you will be able to apply those custom settings to SOLIDWORKS 2020 or 2021. But it's good to have a backup if you have a lot of, if you've made a lot of changes inside of the user interface. Okay. But for the most part, we can pretty much upgrade 2017 right to 2020. We don't really have any issues with upgrading something going back that far to the latest release. Okay. So how do I update to the latest version or service pack? Well, there's a couple methods to go about it. You could, I guess, number one is probably the one that I recommend the most, is just to upgrade the program, or update, sorry, I should say, update SOLIDWORKS just using the installation manager. You can simply do that by clicking, opening SOLIDWORKS, click Help, check for updates. Okay. The installation files are automatically downloaded once you start the installation manager through check for updates. It's going to offer you the latest release of that service pack or major version. So that's a really quick tool that usually works very well. Okay, that's the easiest method. The other method would be just to use a complete file set, the installation file set. Again, you can get from our website. This is often the case, often necessary when you have your installation files that you originally used to install are missing, or you've moved them. And like I said, you could always perform a clean reinstall if you wanted. Now, note here that it's best to have admin level privileges on the computer for the most reliable installation. Okay, so full control permissions to the installation locations that SOLIDWORKS is trying to write to. In your program files, as well as the registry keys. Okay, so you kind of need some level of access to your machine. Otherwise, we're not going to have much success. So if you can't get admin rights or privileges on your own user profile, work with your IT, and you can either have them give you those privileges, or maybe they can just grant you access to a the local administrator profile on that computer. So sometimes we need to go through and switch user profiles to get the best install. Okay, this is what check for update. Check for update is in the help menu. The help menu now in the newest versions, I think it was 2020, is the question mark icon in the top right corner. Okay. So just click the question mark, click check for updates, and it will start the installation manager right up. And we'll look at what that looks like in a little bit here. Just a quick note here, the word about our blogs. We have a lot of white papers, videos, blogs on our website. One of them is the best practices for clean uninstallation, reinstallation of SOLIDWORKS. So you can simply, Google GoEngineer, clean reinstall, clean uninstall, reinstall, and this will pop right up. If you're having troubles finding this, or just want to reach out and talk with one of us, again, use the information I sent you or showed you a little bit earlier to either call us or just send us an email. All right. Cool. This is what the installation manager would look like. Okay, so if you're gonna go through a new install, this is going to look pretty familiar. So this is the new new installation manager for 2021 SP4. This is what you would show up after you select the version that you want to run, after you click Help, check for updates. Okay. The 4 options here: install on this computer. I mentioned this before. This is the individual installation. So this is used to install a single, copy of the software on a single client computer. All right. Typically used with standalone. You can also do an individual or install on this computer if you're using a network license as well. That's no problem. The second option is create an admin image. So this is going to be ideal when you have 10, 20, 50, 100 different client users that are attempting to install and access SOLIDWORKS, typically with a network license connecting to a local server. All right, so that's mass deployment, and you can install or deploy SOLIDWORKS silently to the clients if you wish. A little bit more on admin images later. Install server components. Obviously, we're just installing like the solid network license manager or some PDM server products onto a central server that the clients would then access. Okay. You can also have the client computer act as a server. That is a little bit more involved, but if you're in a setup where your computer is the server that other computers are connecting to pull a license, that's not unheard of. Or maybe you're just the server and you're pulling the license from yourself. You'll need to install the server components as well, the solid network license manager. And finally, the last option I mentioned earlier, having access to download files or installation files right on your company server, perhaps. If you're an admin, a CAD admin at your company, and you want to download the 2021 SP4 files for everyone else to access, you're going to click that last option at the bottom, download and share all files. Then at that point, everyone can go in and copy those files. Maybe it's a little bit quicker, obviously, if they can just pull it right from a server on your local area network, rather than having to download all the files individually or on each individual computer. Okay. Some common errors, some things that we see a lot. You probably have seen this, maybe more than once during the same install, but reboot is pending from a previous installation. So it's saying we strongly recommend you reboot the computer. If you have restarted your computer, you can definitely go on and kind of just click through this message, click OK, ignore it. If you're feeling, if you're confident that you've restarted recently, we always recommend that you restart your system before installation, before updating, to Service Pack or major release. If your installation is unsuccessful and you haven't restarted, this is always the first thing that we recommend if you reach out to us. If you want to permanently disable this, we can help you do that. It's not going to affect too much. Like I said, if you've restarted, that's kind of the main point there. Okay. Another one that I've seen. You have SOLIDWORKS open, you click help check for updates, it still leaves SOLIDWORKS open. You can't update the program while it's open. So once you click help check for updates, make sure that your SOLIDWORKS session is ending or has ended. Make sure PDM is closed, make sure other SOLIDWORKS applications are closed. Other programs such as Outlook can also affect this, and it will tell you during the installation which process. So right there I see SLDworks.exe. Obviously that's SOLIDWORKS. If it tells you to close anything else, just go ahead and close that application either through the task pane, however you need to exit out. SOLIDWORKS is a Windows application, so sometimes we need to close those Windows programs. All right, another one here, the download and install button being grayed out. This is another one that we see a lot, that we get a lot of calls and emails about. The best advice is just to hover over the download and install button. If it is grayed out, it will tell you exactly what is wrong, and not necessarily how to fix it, but it will tell you, it'll point you to some clues, and that way we can help you troubleshoot that if you reach out. So you'll see the error. Some of the errors include, some of the most popular ones is you haven't clicked the accept the terms of SOLIDWORKS, really, simple kind of goofy things like that. So if you click accept the terms, it will allow you to click the download and install button. Another one, the most popular, I would think, besides the box being unchecked, is that the toolbox location is incorrect or has changed. You cannot change. You'll notice right there, the installation location option to change is grayed out, the little pencil. That's where we would, and as well as the toolbox and whole wizard, that's where we would change that. So if the toolbox is missing or corrupted since your initial installation, you'll need to either point it to the missing location or to the new location, or maybe get a copy from a coworker. The toolbox is typically just located right in the C drive, the SOLIDWORKS data. Okay. We can also just send you our toolbox, a new copy of the toolbox. That's like the default version that you can then place there if you can't get it from a coworker. So reach out to us, send us an email, we'll send it right back to you and get you up and running if we need to replace that. So to fix that, you just go into SOLIDWORKS, click Tools, Options, Whole Wizard / Toolbox, and then change the location. You will have to restart this installation manager, however, if your toolbox is incorrect. So that's one thing to note. All right. The other option that we saw back there was if I go back, you'll notice download options has the change icon that is selectable. So that's good. We can always modify our download options here. You'll notice at the top we have download and install. We also have download. And then we have install only if you already have the installation files. So download and install, that's the default selection. The next option I think is most crucial is the background downloader. So the background downloader you can just toggle right here in the installation options. You can turn that on and off. I personally download and install at the same time when I'm ready to update or go to the next version. So I typically leave this off, but it's completely up to you. You can toggle this back on if you had it off initially, or vice versa. So the point of this is just to have the program or SOLIDWORKS run the application. When it sees a download available for the next service pack or the next version, it's going to run that download. Typically it runs it when your computer is under the least amount of load. When the download is complete, you can just simply click update. You can update later, or you can completely delete the download if you don't need it at all, if you decided you don't need it. Okay. Another point here is that it's on by default. So if you notice, the background downloader is giving you some pop-ups in your system tray in the bottom right corner. That's why it was on by default, and it's automatically downloading those files for you. Okay. You can't turn this off once you have the program installed. You can't come in here and modify the background downloader. However, you can turn off the background downloader just by going to your Windows Start button, clicking the Installation Manager, SOLIDWORKS Installation Manager, and then clicking the background downloader. You can disable it there. You can re-enable it there as well. You can also, in my top bullet point here, you can disable it in the bottom right corner by the task pane or the system tray where it's showing you where the update's available. You can just right-click and say Disable Background Downloader. You can find it in the Start menu as well. Okay. And also, if you want the background downloader not to run every time you start up your computer, every time Windows starts, you can go into your startup apps and disable the background downloader there. If you're trying to boot your system up quicker, if you don't need it, definitely go ahead and disable it. It's completely up to you if you leave that on or off. Just one thing to note, since it is a big portion of the installation manager and the whole updating process. All right. A couple more slides to go here. Some good information still to cover yet. Parallel installation. So how many versions do you need installed versus how many do you have installed, or if you want to remove some, it's completely up to you again. I personally have 4 or 5 versions of SOLIDWORKS installed in this computer. So if you need access to that level or different versions, if you have different clients or customers on different versions, it's no problem at all. Have as many as you would like. Only one SOLIDWORKS serial number may be used on a computer. This is a key one that gets a lot of people. If you switch the serial number while you're going through SOLIDWORKS, the installation manager, it will modify and change the serial number for all versions of the software. So if you have you can't run 2 different standalone licenses. You can't run a standalone license and a network license if you're trying to access the different versions. So one serial number per product, right? So per product, SOLIDWORKS is a product, maybe flow simulation is a product, plastics. So all those can have different serial numbers, but they can only have one across multiple versions. When you're running the installation manager, you're going to choose to create a new install rather than electing to upgrade the current installation. Okay, that's when you're running the installation files perhaps for the newer version. So if you download the files for 2020 SP4 and you already have 2017 installed and you need both, it will have an option available for you when you run that the installation manager. So it's smart enough to detect those previous installations. The biggest key here to parallel installations on the summary page of the installation manager, the installation location that we looked at in the toolbox and whole wizard, typically you just want to add the version that you're running at the end of those file locations, so you can edit those file paths that it will create on your computer. If you add the year, so SOLIDWORKS Corp 2021, it will keep it separated and a little bit easier to organize if you have SOLIDWORKS Corp 2018 already installed. Okay. All right. Just really quick, I'm sure you're already familiar. You all might be familiar with the different methods. The two different standalone methods we have are machine activation and online license. So machine activation is you can only have one computer active at a time. And if you need to access multiple computers, you need to manually transfer that back and forth through email or over the internet. I would recommend if you have more than one computer, or if you have 2, 3, 4 computers that may be trying to use SOLIDWORKS with the same serial number, that you switch it over to online license. That way it automatically deactivates and activates when you open and close the program. You can also take the license offline if you are online license, so you don't need internet access. So the key with the online license is that you do need internet access to be able to pull that serial number, pull that license. Okay. Finally, network license, you have you have to connect to a server, and there's a pool of licenses. Maybe it's just one license, but it's kind of first come first server. Okay, the server must be on the same version or newer than the client. So this is kind of how it all ties in, right? If you on your computer, on your client computer, upgrade to SOLIDWORKS 2021, and the server that's hosting your licenses is still 2019 or 2020, you will run into errors when you attempt to launch the program, and you need to upgrade the server to 2020 or 2021 as well. Just to note, in order to run the Solid network or the license servicing, the license management software on the server, you will need Windows Server OS or 2016 or 2019. Windows 10 also works. I mentioned that the client can also be the server. That's a very rare scenario though. So just make sure your Windows, the server, the operating system that the server is running is up to date as well. Okay. All right, last little bit here to go. We're kind of winding down on time. I would say a great resource for any questions on installation, if you want to explore the SOLIDWORKS, the help page that they have, is extremely useful. So what that looks like, if I just go ahead and click help.solidworks.com, you can see I already had it up here. Anything that you would need typically for installation, we're going to find in the SOLIDWORKS menu, administration, and installation administration. Most of the items that you could that you could possibly cover, any information that you might need, especially when it comes down to admin images. So if I switch back here, there's a ton of great information on admin images. I mentioned admin images are great with a single company that has a lot of users using the same network license. Okay, so you can simply deploy those images to those multiple machines. You would use the image editor to customize the settings. You can create custom groups, individual machines that have different add-ins, things like that. So covering, just to kind of finish it off here, upgrading admin images. Like I said, on that help page, there's a lot of great information. But the thing is, you would just simply update the admin image and then replace that admin image in the network location that those clients are looking to. Once the client detects a different version in that location, that's your shared location, maybe on a server, it's going to upgrade that client as well. Okay, so if I go back to here, I go to installation and administration, and I believe down under license administration, no, let's see here. That's fine. Oh, here we go. Administration of multiple installations, upgrading administrative images to new release, right? So there's a lot of information to go through. Upgrading admin image, upgrading clients from an administrative image. If you need help finding what the specific information on this help page, or just questions, again, please reach out to support. You can contact us. We're pretty easy to get a hold of, really, at any time. All right. Let's see here. So let's look. We had the one question. Let me see if I can go through. Looks like we had a couple other ones as well. So if you have any questions, you can submit them now. You can also send us an email. We might have a follow-up email for you after this. So let's see. Is it best to delete all previous versions of SOLIDWORKS before installing newer versions, including, let's see here if I can see all of this. There we go. Including cleaning the registry. So is it best to delete all previous versions of SOLIDWORKS before installing newer versions, including cleaning the registry? It's typically a good idea. It's not always essential though. If you, like I said, if you've noticed issues with your current installation, you might detect that there's something corrupt or missing in the registry, and reinstalling SOLIDWORKS, we obviously don't want to do that multiple times. But if you do want to remove, if you have multiple versions that you're sure you're not going to use anymore, like I said, maybe they're older, maybe you're missing installation files, then yes, I think it's smart to clean out the computer, remove all the SOLIDWORKS folders after. So I would say number one, uninstall SOLIDWORKS, all the versions you have, remove the file locations, in the Windows File Explorer, and then you can go through the registry as well. So we do have those great help articles on our blog, on our website. Okay. Next question here. When is SP4 available? The 2021 SP3 is only available right now, unless we should use the SOLIDWORKS activation wizard. So we should have, if you want support at GoEngineer.com, email us. We can shoot you over the SP4 files if you need them. Also, again, if you open SOLIDWORKS, click Help Check for Updates, it will show you SP4 if you select that. Right, so once it installs the SP4 installation manager, you'll be able to go through and update your current installation. Okay, and then of course, if you've activated SP3 or SP2 or SP1 of 2021, you shouldn't have any issues activating it. All right. Is this going to be available to share with others, assuming this webinar? Then yes, we are going to upload this to YouTube. We upload all of our webinars to YouTube, and you can review those. You can add comments there that we can help answer at that time, down the road. Definitely share this, with your group. Yeah, the video. There we go. Okay, got it. So yeah, definitely. This is just kind of a brief review. We're gonna plan on doing other videos, other webinars of updating PDM or the electrical system in the near future. If you're interested, you can always join us for that. So this was kind of just an overall scope of updating SOLIDWORKS to either the next service pack or the next major release. Kind of some of the issues you might run into, best practices, things like that. So we really thank everyone for joining. Let's see if we have any other comments before we sign off for the evening. Oh, there was a couple more. Let's see here. Looks like, let's see if I can read all of those. What's required in upgrading templates? We know through SOLIDWORKS, but we've heard a lot about SOLIDWORKS templates that need to be updated. Not talking about PDM templates. So you should be able to use your previous templates, right? So it's always good to keep a backup of your templates. You can always find your file templates by clicking the Tools Options button and then clicking the File Templates, Document Templates file locations, and that's going to show you where they're saved. So if you have some custom templates, make sure you keep a backup of those. Those would be the PRT DOT files, ASM DOT files. You should be able to use those previous templates in the newer version. Okay. Let's see a couple more here. These are all really good. We use PDM. Having PDM set up. Please mention where having a PDM setup would have an effect on the step you're going through. I'm not sure the exact step, but typically updating the client, as long as you're on the same major release, so say 2020 or 2021, the client doesn't really have any issues. If you do update to the next major version, you will also have to update not only the solid network license managing software, if you're using a network license, which you do for PDM, you'd also have to update the PDM server as well. Okay, So those are just a couple things to pay attention to. And again, we're going to go through PDM in a separate webinar, because there is a lot of information to go over in PDM. So definitely don't want to try to cram too much in. We've already gone over just a little bit, but that's okay. So be on the lookout for that. If you're interested, please join us. Yeah, looks like that's all we had for now. Great. Yeah, well, thank you for joining. Like I said, this webinar will be added to our YouTube channel, so subscribe, leave us a comment on that video if you have any questions, or maybe leave us a comment if you'd like us to cover a different topic in a video in the future. Visit our website, GoEngineer.com. You can access professional training, upcoming events, and much more on that website, including how to reach support, kind of what I've already reviewed today. So that's all. Thank you very much, everyone. See you at the next webinar.